Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So today what I want to do is take apart this air compressor. Found it on garbage day and unfortunately it doesn't work. And the nice thing about air compressors is I could actually bring this in as is to a scrapyard and get steel price. This is very heavy, this weighs about 25 pounds. And given the price of steel right now, it's about $259 a ton, which is amazing right now. It's an easy, fast money maker. But before I do that, there is some goodies on here that I do want to take off. There's some brass, there's some copper, there's a motor, there's some cast aluminum. And the nice thing about compressors is they come in all shapes and sizes. I actually have another video on taking apart a smaller compressor, very less or more basic than this one. So if you're interested, go check that out. There's some real goodies in that one. This one, the reason I want to look at this one is because it is a lot different. And I kind of want to show you the different models that are out there and you know, the differences that come with them. So here we go. The first thing, the head, I've already removed this. This is really the only garbage that is going to come from this compressor, okay? And unfortunately in our municipality, we don't have the means to recycle this. So this is, even though it's plastic, it is gonna be garbage. I have already removed the on and on switch. The on and on switch, anytime you have a click like that, there will be a small silver contact in here. And I actually just did a video on silver, finding silver in places. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. Silver is everywhere. But a silver contact, really, it will look like that small dot. I will cut that off and put it into my silver bin. Okay, and the nice thing about this too is you can see there is some nice copper prongs on here as well. Copper right now, that would be #1 copper once I take the plastic off. And copper #1 right now is about $3.80 a pound. Okay, and this prong as well, I will take the plastic off and I will put that into my copper. So nice switch with silver in it and copper. Okay, I've removed the motor and I'm gonna look at this after, given its complexity and intricacy. So I'm gonna just put this on the side right now and focus on the big drum. I've already cut the wire. Now in Canada, I'm looking at this insulated copper wire like this. Scrapyards look at copper to plastic ratio and copper recovery. And I actually have a video on different cords, how to separate your cords to maximize your profit. So if you're interested in that, go check that one out. But very quickly, this one, because it has a layer of plastic on the outside and coating on the 3 copper wires on the inside, this will be classified as 40% copper recovery. And currently in Canada, that would go for about $1.23 a pound, which is still great. This is close to a pound. It also has some nice nickel-coated brass prongs. Some people will take these off and put them into their coated brass bucket, which is about $2.40 a pound right now. There's definitely not a pound there, but people like myself, I'll put it into a bucket and it'll add up. So there's some nice brass. Some people leave them on there for the weight for the cord. It's entirely up to you, but I think it's definitely worth it because brass in the end is worth more. But this will be a nice insulated copper wire that will go, appliance cord that will go for 40% recovery as is. Okay, the shell here, there are a couple really nice brass prongs. I have one here, and they're very easy to take off. You just unscrew them. Sometimes they are, you know, stuck on there, so you might need a little bit of WD-40, but they are easy to take off. And the nice thing about these really nice gold pronged brass, I do have to open it up, take the steel out of there, but currently gold brass, or the clean brass as you see with the gold look, is going for $2.53 a pound right now, which is awesome. In order to get the hose off, I do want to cut this. I always cut it in half on both sides. It will break apart open, and then I can peel the steel out of there as well. If I was to bring this in as is, I'm going to get dirty brass price, and it is significantly less. So you want to make sure you take the steel off and the hose Okay, so a nice piece of brass there. That's one hose fitting. There is another one on the bottom here, okay, that I'm going to take off as well. Turn this for you. So very simple, same thing. I'm just going to unscrew it. This one looks very clean. All right, it's just using muscle power. And it is amazing what you find in the garbage. You know, I wish, you know, people looked at this stuff beforehand and maybe dropped off. We had a drop-off depot or something, but nice thing, there are scrappers out there that are diverting this stuff from the landfill. So really nice brass prong. Another one here. I got to put a magnet to it. There is a little bit of steel, I think, in the pin there. If there is, I'm just going to put it again in my vise, zip down both sides with a cutting disc, open it up and get the nice separated. Okay, and the last thing on this, here is the hand end air valve gauge that I just dropped. Okay, so I'm not going to actually take this apart for you now, but as you can see inside, for the sake of time, there is right here some more clean brass. I'm just going to break that dial off with a hammer to expose it. There is another one here that I'm just going to unzip. There is some steel going down it. Some people just pull the pin out, but there are some steel coils in there that I need to take out. Okay, so I want to take that out. So both of these gauges here have brass underneath. There is brass as well on this. And if I take a magnet, if I can find my magnet, there it is. This metallic look here, this is actually cast aluminum, okay? So cast aluminum right now is about 30 cents a pound, okay? And if I was to bring this in as is, this would count as dirty cast aluminum because it's got steel, this is steel, this is steel. So I'd get about 5 to 10 cents a pound. So very simple, just unscrew all these valves and this will become your cast aluminum. Cast aluminum, like a lot of frying pans and barbecues. So definitely want to clean that out. Take this plastic nozzle off. If it doesn't come off easily, you can always, oh, there it goes. I'm just unscrewing it. Okay, I could probably just zip it with a grinder. It'll pop off. And the rest of this shell is now steel. I have a scale right here. Just going to look at the weight of this alone. This is 16 pounds as is. So a nice big piece of steel. Not going to take up a lot of room in my car, which is awesome. Eventually I want to get a truck, but nice thing is this is easy to compact. And again, a nice clean piece of steel. And you think about the weight of that, the price of steel right now, it's a good score. Now, the last thing I want to look at is your motor. There is a copper motor inside with the fan. And what's interesting about these is, just quickly show you, I don't know the terminology on the gears and stuff like that. I just know where the metal is and how to separate it. But if you look, I'm just turning this little screw here. It drives the belt, which turns the fan. So pretty neat how that works. All right. But what I want to get to is this copper motor inside. This is all cast aluminum. There is a really nice pipe right here. And first thing I want to do with this is I want to see if this is brass, if it's steel, if it's aluminum. So it is not magnetic, okay? But this could either be stainless steel or aluminum. So the first thing I want to do is actually called in my opinion, it is called the spark test. If I take a grinder with a cutting disc and I hit it with a blade, if it sparks, it is stainless steel. Okay, and stainless steel currently right now, I'm just gonna actually break this off just so I can move it. Stainless steel right now is about 55 cents a pound, all right? I do wanna remove the steel off that to make it clean. The other option is if it's aluminum. If I hit it and there's no sparks, this will be aluminum. I'm gonna judge just by the weight of this that it's aluminum, okay? Aluminum is usually lighter, okay? But spark test is the best test. So, I'm gonna get my grinder. Here, I'm just gonna hit it just quickly with it to see if there's sparks. So there are no sparks, which means this is a piece of aluminum, okay? And I'm not gonna complain. Clean aluminum, once I take this off, is about 45 cents a pound. Okay, this is definitely not a pound. This is very light, okay, but it is a nice piece of aluminum. Okay, there are a couple bolts that I need to take out to take this piece of cast aluminum off. The problem is to get to this copper motor, it is actually attached right here to the belt drive, I guess, or the piston, whatever you want to call that thing that rotates. Okay, so if I turn this, you can see it going, it drives it. So the two options, I'm looking for bolts, I don't have any. I could use a grinder to cut this open just to get at it, which I think I'm gonna do. And the thing about these is when I look at this copper motor inside, there is brass as well, which is a great score. But these copper motors, the problem is the more modern technology we have, the more appliances, the newer ones we have, we are finding that the copper coils are actually not copper anymore. The manufacturers are now using aluminum coils that have a copper color coating on top. So before you actually take the time to separate the copper motor from the copper, you want to do the scratch test. Okay, so once I take this motor off, there is a category at the scrapyard for copper bearing motors. It's about 25 cents a pound right now because of the price of copper. So what I'm going to do first, before I take the time to take that out, I'm going to do this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch that copper with a file. All right. And as you can see right there, that is a metallic color, which means that the coils on this copper bearing motor are actually aluminum. So once I get this out of this apparatus, I am not going to take the time to take that copper spool out because it's not copper. It's not worth my time. You're not going to get much money for the aluminum. So one option is actually just to bring this in as is and get copper bearing motor price. This is actually 6 pounds. Okay, I've already weighed it. That is definitely something I would probably do once I take the little piece of cast off here. And if I can't hit it with a grinder and take this off. Okay, I definitely do want to take the brass ends off. Very easy to do. All I'm just going to do is just pull them off. Okay, but for the sake of this video, I actually have another motor here. And the reason I have this is because some motors are copper inside. So if I would have done the scratch test, which I've already done on this one, and you can see, actually I'll do it for you right now on this side. You can see a copper look. So this is actually copper coils. This I would definitely take the time to separate, okay? And the nice thing about this is once you open it, this will pop off. The tight coils of copper in here, I cannot get those out because they are very tightly entwined in there. So this will still be a copper bearing motor. This, I want to get this copper out because this will be classified as number 2 copper. And currently number 2 copper is $3.50. And it is very easy to do. So I'm just going to do it with this example. Okay, I had a comment from one of my other subscribers about motors with vacuum cleaners saying that some of them do not have copper, or a lot of them that they found are aluminum. So yes, before you take the motor apart, you want to do the scratch test and check. Okay, and unfortunately for that subscriber, maybe it's due to geography or location. I have taken apart about 100 vacuum cleaners, and of those, maybe 9 of them have been aluminum. So the rest have been copper. So again, I don't know if it varies, but I'm going to take this one off. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take a grinder, and I'm just going to make an incision down this side, so here, and then I'm going to turn it over in my vise and pop it out. So I want to quickly just get some gloves on, very simple, but I want to make sure safety is first. All right, so So the sparks did not come from the copper, okay? They came from the steel that wraps around it, so it just tells me that I'm done, or I've gotten through. So just taking a pry bar now, it's in my vise. I'm just gonna pull it up using leverage. Okay, so there's one. I'm gonna do this one now. Sometimes it will take up a plate, and that's okay. It's just because it's there. So this now will go into my steel. And as you can see, once I take the tape off here, I have some really nice copper, number 2 copper. Okay, and I do take a little bit of tape off there. I throw this into a bag, and as you can see here, this is a bag of just copper motors and stuff. Different colors. This is actually 8 pounds, so 350 times 8, so it adds up quickly. All right, so definitely want to check if your motor is copper underneath or aluminum. As I said, I still have a copper bearing motor, and that was just an example. I wanted to show just if the copper inside was copper, because they are worth taking apart. All right, so definitely want to do that. I'm gonna quickly take off the brass. The brass right here, I could use a hammer. I could use a pair of pliers. I'm just gonna use a pair of pliers and a hammer. I think there we go. It just pops out. There's some steel. There's some coating on it. I just have to hit that off. There is a little bit of copper right there that I do pin off, and I will throw that into my number 2. Okay, turn this around. Get this pin out. Then just bend it, comes out, there you go. So that's a nice piece of brass that I'm gonna throw into my clean brass once it's done. All right, there are also some brass prongs on here, so I do actually take those off as well. And I just use like a pair of pinchers and bend it, okay, because it's attached to a copper spool. So I wanna get that zip tie. There we go. So get that. Every little bit of brass helps. So there's some nice clean brass that I will take off as well. I'll put that into my brass bucket. There is some lower grade because this is one layer of copper, this wire here, this will be 60% copper recovery, which goes for $1.83 a pound. There's not much here, but I will definitely throw this into my power or copper cord pile for the higher money. Okay, and there's a couple spools on here, so I just cut these off on both sides. Okay, and I am just gonna last minute, just for the sake of this video, to see if I can actually do it, cut this out. So I want to first cut the belt. So now I've cut the belt, which is great, and I'm actually gonna just try using a grinder. I'm going to hit this off. I'm just gonna cut actually this little piece here. I'm gonna try and hit that out with a hammer. So we'll see if it works. Just so I can actually separate the copper motor and the cast aluminum. And again, this is also just for educational purposes. So for this, I want to definitely use a visor. Make sure this is in my vise. Again, I'm just gonna cut the steel here. Actually, that wasn't steel that I cut, that was cast aluminum. That's why it didn't spark. So now, very simple, all I did was I cut it. It's broken off. I want to see if I can hit that out with a hammer. Okay, it is coming. Now, I have to hit it again because the hole is too big. So I think what I have to do is I'm just going to cut down that again just to get that out so this will slide through. Okay, so just to show you, all I did was I just cut that steel. Hopefully it will come out now with the hammer. There we go. So, again, as I said, that will pop out. This, for the sake, because this is copper, this piece, I hope. Yes, it is. So this is copper. This one is, which is great. So some people will actually leave these in as is, and the scrap yards sometimes will not look if it is copper bearing motor. They'll just give you the price on it. Some people will actually separate it, put this into their aluminum ones, and this in the copper. It doesn't matter because they don't really check, but definitely this is copper. And if you are the type that scrap the copper out of here, by all means, I don't have the time because it is very difficult to do, but there is some copper in there. Okay, so this is now copper, and all I'm gonna do to get the rest of this cast aluminum off is I just have to, you know, do a little bit of grinding to open that up, to take this off, to get clean cast aluminum price, or I could bring this in as is and get dirty cast, which is 5 cents a pound. It depends on the time you have and the tools you have, but definitely a compressor, very well worth taking apart. Lots of goodies inside. So you had a nice copper bearing motor, you have lots of steel, you have some clean aluminum, lots of nice clean brass, some cast aluminum, and more importantly, some silver as well, sorry, from the silver contact. But more importantly, another electronic or appliance diverted from the landfill. Hope you found this informative. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.